Hello, everybody. My name's Paul McCarthy with Hero Facility Services, and this is the second edition of Facilities First. Sorry, we were a little bit late. T was running around. He had a bunch of chickens flying everywhere, so we had to mess with those first. But I want to introduce my guest today. It's T McCluster, who is the head of National Corporate Facilities for KFC. And KFC, one of the great things, T, that I love is everybody called it KFC before y'all rebranded as KFC. So that was pretty cool. Would
Yes.
you go ahead and just tell everybody, tell us about you, tell us what you do?
So I am T. McCluster, the head of corporate facilities for the KFC US division. I came to KFC from Checkers and Rallies in December of 2024, and I'm happy to be over here with KFC and Yums.
Yeah, good, good, good. So a little birdie told me that you like food.
I do.
So pretend your doctor wasn't listening. What's your go-to meal if calories don't count?
So I love me a good steak paired with some seafood. I'm a huge seafood lover. So
And
uh,
you're in Orlando, right?
I am located in Orlando.
Oh, so we got the best seafood here in Florida. I'm from Texas originally, but coming down here, I eat seafood all the time.
Yeah, I believe you're in Melbourne, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just about 40 miles northwest of you.
Yeah,
So,
so I actually like a uh, Florida's best seafood out there on US One, uh,
oh, okay,
uh,
okay.
on the coast. So
Well, you'll have to come down. I got another seafood place. I'll take you. I'll buy you lunch. How about that?
that'll be perfect.
All right. So you just talked about the favorite restaurant here in Melbourne, but where overall? What's your favorite restaurant? Of course, besides KFC.
So lately, I eat here at least once a week. I like pho, Vietnamese soup, and I eat at a place called Vietnam. So
Really?
I eat there at least once a week. I was just there yesterday.
Okay, so quick question. Do you use chopsticks?
No, I don't. I
All
use a
right, go ahead.
I said I use a the spoon for the soup and a fork for the noodles.
Okay, okay. I can't. I tell them I have to have those kid chopsticks with the little rubber band on them because I don't know how people do it. So, my wife always tells me I have a fifth grade palate. So, are there any foods that you absolutely refuse to eat?
Food that I refuse to eat. Can't think of anything off the top of my head besides like black eyed peas, and that's like I was from my childhood. Like my grandma cooked that and Sunday dinners and stuff like that. It was just something that I never liked the acquired taste of it.
But grandma made you eat them, didn't she?
Correct.
Back in the days, we were saying you ain't leaving the table till everything's cleaned off your plate.
Correct.
So now we're gonna let you have some fun, T. Let's go ahead and let's go into the KFC test kitchen, and they give you full reign to come up with T special. What would the new menu item be?
Original recipe shrimp.
Oh, we tying back to that seafood.
Correct.
Cause we can start branding it KFCS. What would you call it?
Uh Original recipe shrimp.
Okay, keep with that original recipe because that's what
Correct.
KFC is known for.
Yes, the 11 herbs and spices.
Yep, yep. So now we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna switch over to the meat, no pun intended, of the show, where we're gonna talk some facilities. So, what's your personal philosophy on facility management?
Teamwork, personability. I had the opportunity and task to build out this new facilities department here with KFC. Um, in my tenure, short time right now, we just hired three facilities technicians um, and a supervisor. So I have the pleasure to work alongside some great supervisor out of Texas, Matt Rodriguez and Frank. Protruso, Orlando. My team is strong. We talk every day, hours at a time. Sometimes we'll jump on the teams and spend hours while we're working independently, but also collaboratively at the same time. We might come up with a problem. Somebody might get an email. They might ask me a thought. I might ask them something. So we can collaborate, even though we're remote, but we can collaborate in real time.
I tell you, that's one of the things one of the small blessings that came out of COVID was the fact that we have now we can do everything via Zoom and like this, and so it helps a lot. But you touched on a key word there that I think is so important in the facilities world is communication, whether it be with your team, whether it be with your vendor. So, how important is it for you to have trusted vendor partners?
So vendor partners are extension of the facilities department. So that's who that's my spiel to any third party who try to partner with us. Um, they're extension of our team. Why they don't necessarily work for me as a W-2 employee, you work for me as a 1099 employee. So that's how I look at it. The communication is key. Um, Knowing the problem, trying to give them as much detail before they get to the site. Um, Facilities is fluid, so it's always rapidly changing. So if anything was to go wrong or come up in the course of that, having points of escalations where they can call, get to the supervisors or get to me, where we can make key decisions to proceed or not to proceed in a repair.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we see on our side is that my wife always makes fun of me because my ADHD. She asks me the time and I'll build her the clock. But I also think that comes from my restaurant background because in the restaurant background back when I was in it, you had a red book where you wrote your notes and you had to write everything that went on. And communication is vital in this industry. And we value it and we love to over communicate at Hero. So you mentioned something about how it's fluid. Here's going to be a fun one for you because I know y'all are doing a lot of renovations right now, and the new prototypes look absolutely wonderful. I love them. Every time I drive past one, they just look great. So, how do you handle the pressure of the fix it now and don't interrupt service? Because we all know that happens.
So major renovations are handled by our construction and development department. Facilities might have a small scope within that, where we own just a little part of the project itself, but we often partner with the development team to have our scope completed up under the development contractors and GCs. Well, we might just take it on financially, hitting our budget, but development is already there. They already have their contractors there. We run the project through them.
Okay. Okay. So, what feedback are y'all getting from your customers about the new renos?
Customer feedback has been positive. Like everybody else is, we have to compete in the quick service market with updating our portfolio, updating our look, uh, going after new clientels, the younger generations, their appeal, they require more. So
Hmm.
the standing asset of 20, 30 years, you can no longer kind of get away with. You need the technology in there. You need the kiosks. You need the cool soda machines and things of such nature. You need ambience inside the restaurants. So facelift to the front of the house is vital to our success.
And for any of y'all that haven't worked in the restaurant industry, front of house is what we call where the customers sit. In the restaurant industry, we have our own lingo, and I know that I've said it before around people. I said I'm in the weeds, and people look at you like, "Why are you in grass?" And in the weeds in the restaurant industry means I'm behind, I'm in trouble, right? So I love that. So I'm gonna flip a little bit on you, and one of my favorite things to ask, being in the facility world, you've seen it all. But what was one of your favorite calls, and why was it your favorite call? I'm gonna say craziest.
Repeat that again. I have to think a little bit.
Okay, no problem. So the question is, what is the craziest call you had for a facilities fix during your time with either Checkers or KFC?
So I would say my craziest call was with Checkers and Raleigh, why it was a sad situation. We had a accident at the corner at one of the locations, and the car actually hit the building and it caught fire up under the awning and everything. So
Oh
um,
my gosh.
that was a call that I got like 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Had to jump on a plane Monday morning, get out there, be boots on the ground, to put my eyes on it to see what was going on. Sense of damage on the exterior of the building. It didn't penetrate the building, but it was a lot of work working with the city, replacing signage, fencing, lighting, and things of such nature.
Okay, okay. And I know that in fast food, there's younger people that are working there, so I bet you get some probably, I'm not going to say comical, but less descriptive uh, work orders that come in.
Correct. So it's a learning curve. They oftentimes select the wrong vendor. Um, so they might, the automatic system with the system that we use might send it to the inappropriate vendor, and we have to go back and catch it and redirect it. And then it's a coaching moment. So from there, once we catch it, we let the area coaches know, hey, such and such put this ticket in like this, and we give them example. And then the incurred costs with the ticketing systems. It's no way around the incurred trip fees. Unlike email or phone calls back in the day where you can say, "Hey, I got this going on," and they go out and get estimates for free on whether they show up or not. After they show up, that trip charge, that incurred charge, is going to always hit. And they don't want to pay double of those because you didn't put the ticket in correct. So now we have to redirect that, and these prices can range anywhere from $75 to $150
Yeah.
just to pull up.
Yeah, truck rolls are a cost, and it's part of doing business. And with you brought up a good point with facility managers now. Back when I was in the industry, facility managers, they just kind of sat at home office, and you would call them and tell them something was broke, and they send somebody out or say, "Hey, call this guy." But y'all's role has shifted in the last couple of years, that y'all have really become true coaches and educators
Correct.
because y'all are in the stores a lot, right?
Well, my structure now, I'm not in the stores that much.
Okay.
My supervisors get out there and make trips, and then we have in-house technicians that are in the restaurants on a day-to-day basis. Special projects or quality assurance, following up on vendor work and stuff like that, or just pop-ups just to see how internally we're supporting the restaurants, and externally, quality assuring the work. Myself and the facilities leadership team would make restaurant visits.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of higher level. And if
Correct.
T pops in, everybody starts going, put their gloves on and make sure everything's going right, huh?
No, I'm not that important. So
So let's talk about looking forward, leadership. Um, Being head of national, you obviously just you spoke about your employees and the people you have underneath you. Leadership's vital. What is your style of leadership?
inclusiveness, and communication, it trickles up and it trickles down. Um, Being personable enough to my staff, to be approachable. Um, I don't lead in front of them. I lead on the side of them. Right. So I'm never gonna ask them to do something I wouldn't do myself or I can't do myself. For instance, we're going through certification from Henny Penny, right? So I took the class myself. I took the certification myself before I roll it down here to my supervisors, and then they roll it down to my technicians, right? So us as leaders will be able to guide them throughout the processes. Me being the head of the department, I can ask the questions with the manufacturer in order to bring this service in house. All those things. So that's why I chose to take it first, go through it, reach out to the manufacturer to work out all the details to fully onboard our facilities department to be able to perform this task.
That's I love that you say that, because one of the big things these days is the difference between bosses and leaders. And what I always say is a leader is somebody who helps you grow, and a boss is somebody who stunts your growth.
Right.
And so, with you jumping in there, you taking the stuff first, you not being afraid to put your hands on stuff, that's a style that people will follow.
Correct.
And that's what makes great leaders. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, what's something you're most proud of that most people wouldn't notice?
The brand that I represent for a living. Knowing where I came from and having the opportunity to lead a department that's so vital to any organization, but the second major national brand is something that I'm truly proud of.
That's awesome, because we always say you have to love where you work. And obviously you have a passion for KFC, and passion for me is one of my favorite words, because passion is different than liking.
Yeah.
And I heard something the other day that over 49% of people don't really like their job. And I tell people, man, if you can't be the same at work as you are at home,
I,
then you got to change one of them, and it's usually not going to be your home life. You'll have to change your work life.
well, I was able to stumble across a career that I absolutely love to do. So my days be tough, but I don't work, you know. It's just what I do. It's like a mechanic that plays in with cars. If he builds engine, he's not working. It's a hobby,
Yeah.
That's what he do. I'm a tangible kind of person, and most people in this field are tangible. So we like the results of things. So when I have a stressful day at my personal house, in my personal life, I go do things around my house. I'm like, the other day I just cleaned out the whole garage and rearranged it and put a TV up in the projection system, and then sat out there for 2 hours just enjoying music, watching the projection. Well, that's the tangible stuff that I like. I seen something at the end that was useful to myself.
And you said you're 40 minutes away. You want to come over this weekend? We can redo the garage and everything. I need a man cave. So, this is a question I love asking people, because so many people have different answers to this. But T, what motivates you every day in and day out?
Well, the typical answer would be my family, right? So, my wife and my children, um, having them be proud of me, and then myself, um, and then thirdly, would kind of be like something that I was proud of myself, the brand that I represent. I don't take this opportunity lightly. I know it's a challenge, but I'm up for the challenge. Um, Again, the second major brand to build a facilities department out, to be an architect on that. I tell my guys, I tell Frank and Matt all the time, we have the opportunity to be architects of this department, where we are building the policies and the procedures and the culture of it. So the next person that come behind us would be like getting another job. This is how it's done. Right now, we're building it.
Yeah.
We're laying the foundation. So we don't have that expectation of following in somebody else's footsteps.
That's kind of That's something to be very proud of because it's going to affect generations and generations. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about generations, you and I both know that the facility world is starting to change.
Correct.
There's some things called AI. There's some other things that are coming in with technology. Where do you see the future of facilities and restaurants?
So facilities as a whole, it's a kind of two-part question for me.
Okay.
I think any young person that is capable of using their hands should go the trade route. I sit here as a student of the trade. Um, it's endless opportunities with inside facilities and maintenance itself. And then where it is going is that it's high competition between brands, internal and external. If you just ride up and down the street, if you see more than something repetitive twice, they oftentimes has a facilities department because they in every city. That's your fast foods, that's your big box stores, and a lot of people just don't think about it, right? Um, it's long term. AI really can't replace us with what we do. It's gonna enhance us with what we got to do. But it's a shortage of people that we need on this side of facilities. The
I just got
technology would help us, meaning gather the information, help us diagnose things quicker. But you're gonna always need a human to process, to dispatch that stuff, to coordinate those stuff because it's fluid. While AI is super fast, it can't tell me the toilet is broken and stopped up.
yeah.
To make a phone call, right? Or send an email. So things like that. It's only gonna enhance us. I don't think it's really gonna hurt facilities itself.
I agree with that because just the other day, some people are saying AI is the future, meaning it's going to take over everything. But to me, AI is a tool to be used
Yes, it's
and
not.
something to help you become more efficient. Uh, you know, Other things like that. You mentioned something that I'm very proud of, and Hero's very proud of, is the culture and great leaders have ways of developing a culture, and you being the leader for the team and your servants leadership style, is it fun watching that culture coming together?
It is. It's fun. So with my new hires, within 2 weeks, I sent them all an email and asked, "Hey, where do you want to be at in 5 years?" Because I was asked that. I don't know if it was 5 or 10 years. I believe I said 10 years because that was the original question. Um, and they all gave me their answers, and I replied back to them individually, right, with what I think. I believe in watering the flowers that are around me, not regarding things. So it's more easier for me to enhance those who I work alongside and pour into them than to try to go out and do this process all over again.
Yeah,
My biggest philosophy in my life and in my workspace is that knowledge is useless when it's hoarded. So oftentimes my wife be like, "Oh, you talk too much," because I know a lot of things. Like I'll share anything, but I'm one of those people don't that why is this all just sitting in my head when it could be useful to somebody else?
that's wonderful because I've always said that knowledge is the only thing we can steal for free. I mean, seriously, and it's when we get around our age, we start looking to mentor, to help, and to grow the next edition of these kids, next generation of these kids coming through,
Right.
and mentorship and having somebody like you as a leader for them is very important. Another thing that I say is you have to treat people like a bank. You have to make deposits, get withdrawals, which
Correct.
is kind of similar. You're watering flowers.
Correct. Yes.
So tell me, what does T like to do besides going and eating anything and doing working with your hands? You have any other passions?
I love sports. Just like most of us, I watch a lot of NFL football. Not so much basketball these days, and then just spending time with my family and my friends. Um, whether that be cooking or throwing a get together, or just sitting around laughing, enjoying life.
Good, good deal. So this is an age old question, and I found out when I came to Florida, similar to Texas, is either you're a Jaguars fan or you're a Dolphins fan. Which side do you lie?
Now, you forgot the best team in Florida, the Bucks.
I didn't even think West Coast. Okay, so you're a Bucks fan.
Yeah, I'm originally from the Tampa Bay area, right outside of St. Petersburg. So I love the Bucks.
Oh, so you grew up with those cool uniforms.
Correct, creamsicles. Got
Yep.
it around here
Yep.
somewhere. I just had on the other day.
Oh, did you really? So I always say that Dallas Cowboys are my favorite team, but Jerry Jones needs to go. So I take a lot of razzing for being a Cowboys fan, but the Bucks.
Delusional. That's what a Cowboy fan.
Well, we did win 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. And
That,
those were my formative years. And all my friends that are anti-Cowboy fans point out to me that was almost 3 decades ago.
correct.
And number one, that makes me realize I'm getting old. And number two, I tell them to shut their mouth. So I'm going to throw you some questions. First thing that comes to your mind, and just blurt it out.
Okay.
This first one, we might need to mute your KFC friends, but what's your favorite fast food besides KFC?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. That great talk about great culture and great service. They're raising the bar for fast food. I thought you were going to take the easy way out and go with another Yum brand. So is Tia early bird or are you a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
Really?
Yes.
What's a normal sleep schedule for T?
I'm probably down by maybe 11, but I probably get up in the middle of the night, check emails from about 2 to maybe 3. Process things for tomorrow morning just in my head. Um, uh, my clearest thoughts come when I'm asleep. So when I wake up, you know, they already running through. So I'm processing some of those things. Um, so yeah,
Okay. It's funny because I'm a early bird and they call me grandpa, but that I have to be in bed by 9 o'clock. But with ADHD, I'll wake up at 2 o'clock like you, and I have ideas going out of my head like a blender with the lid off.
right.
I mean, it's crazy. So, got a couple more questions for you, and we're gonna wrap this up. So, if you had a choice, beach, mountains, or food tour?
Probably go to the mountain. I grew up in Pinellas County, so I'm real experienced with the beach that I don't like. It's not enough shade on the beach.
Okay, okay, okay. How about hot sauce or ranch?
Ranch.
Ranch, good deal. Well, do you have any final words of wisdom for the folks listening and the next future facility managers?
For all those that don't know about facilities, kind of do your research. It's a great field. It's a everlasting and the opportunity um, to kind of change lives. Whether you're on my side or your side of facilities, you meet great people, you learn great things, and it can take you to the heights of the world.
Man, T, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show because you did this blindly. You had no idea what this little squirrel was going to do.
Yeah,
But when I messaged you, you said, "Come on, I'm ready."
I
And
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate that.
Thank
And
you.
so let's tell everybody goodbye. And once again, my name's Paul McCarthy with Hero Facility Services. And my guest today is
T McCluster, head of facilities for KFC USA.
bye, guys.
Thank you.